Hi guys, back once again to talk about another episode of Doctor Who, this time episode 3 of series 11, Rosa. And I'm going to start off by saying, and the BAFTA award goes to... Damn, this was a good episode of Doctor Who. Like properly brilliant episode of Doctor Who. It's not all great, because there are some things in this episode I might have changed or left out, or didn't necessarily contribute that much to the show, but it was still, like, this was a great episode of Doctor Who. So when are we going to begin? Let's start off by talking about the villain. The villain to this episode was basically a time-travelling racist, and his motivations for why he was doing what he was doing pretty much come down to that. He was a very two-dimensional character, so I don't necessarily think that the story necessarily needed that character. Some of the dialogue in this episode was a bit cringy and a bit chintzy, but it kind of served its purpose. And that's really sort of some of the main negatives I've got about this episode. There was a bit more sonic waving going on than I generally like, and there was Doctor Who name dropping with Frank Sinatra, Elvis, stuff like that, which you didn't have to put in. Sometimes it's nice when they do it, but it is just name dropping, and it's one of those things you've got to juggle with. I'm okay with it though. It's not necessarily a bad thing. As with everything so far this season, let's say, hey look, the production values on this series so far are astronomical. If the last series production value set the bar here, this is way up there, way up. The character development for, again, Graham and Ryan, once again brilliant. Yaz is again put on the back burner, but so is the Doctor. The Doctor, I kind of felt was whilst being used as the chaperone for these characters, wasn't necessarily the main part of the story. And given that the main part of the story was dealing with the whole Rosa Parks incident, I thought they handled it really well, but I think that Jodie was a little bit underserved here. So that's kind of what I felt about Jodie's character anyway. In particular, the Doctor was kind of just there to push things along. I think that the story might have worked a little bit better if they didn't have the alien, if that, they had worked out that something had gone wrong and they were just going back to put it right. We've seen sort of these civil rights sort of stories done before in shows like Quantum Leap. But wow, did this episode deliver a gut punch. Like, I felt uneasy watching this episode of Doctor Who. I've never felt that before. I've never felt ashamed of human history quite like I did when I was watching this. There was something about this episode, the way they done it, the way they handled it. It was handled with a great deal of care, to the point whereby when things were being handed off with these sort of racist motivations, it made me feel really kind of sick to my stomach. And the worst part is that it's one of those stories because it happened. This sort of thing went on, and in some places of the world, it's still going on. It was handled so well. They could have gone a little bit further, but I don't think they would necessarily. For the time of day the show went out, though, I think they pitched it right. The music was fabulous for this episode. The music for this little trumpet playing when Rosa Parks is on screen, I thought was beautiful. I think they might have gone a little bit too far with Rise Up and having that overplay the credits at the end. don't think you needed that. I would have been much happier to have heard the scream and gone back into the Doctor Who theme. But you know what, it's one of those things. I don't really care about the end credits really, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. It would have been nice to have heard the score, but it doesn't really matter. I think that's pretty much the last time they actually replaced the Doctor Who theme with a song or a musical score was probably Earthshock. I think that was probably the last time was when Adric died. So but yeah, enough of talking about that. Let's just really sort of focus on what was going on here with the characters. Graham and Ryan. Once again, more character development for Graham, more character development for Ryan. Not so much for Yaz again. I don't know why that is, but I've said this before, right? I've felt a little bit nervous about Mandip Gill, her performance in this show so far. She's been a little bit shaky, if I'm going to be honest with you. Her acting performance has been okay to less than convincing. I don't think she's a great actor, but she hasn't really been given much to do. She hasn't really been given much for me to sort of go, aha, okay, now I know what you're doing. So maybe it's due to the character development, but it's left me in a position whereby, as far as I'm concerned, Graham is the star of this show. Graham and Ryan and their relationship is still front and centre of this story. And in particular with the fact that Ryan was coming up to taking the brunt end then of these racist attacks. And yeah, the whole bit whereby they hide him behind the bins and things like that. It was such a well done story. So well done. I think historically speaking, I know Chris Chibnall said he wanted to do an historical, more historical episodes, more educational episodes. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting this at all. Like as a historical piece for Doctor Who, this is the best one they've ever made in its history. Like this is just one of those ones whereby in the past 55 years of Doctor Who, I don't think we ever seen anything like this. Like I said, it wasn't all plain sailing. Like I said, they could have done without the villain or improved the villain, made the villain a little bit more developed. And they could have given the Doctor a bit more, and they definitely could have given Yaz more. But I'm pretty sure. See, here's the thing. The theory that I've ended up coming up with is that they have front-loaded the character of Graham, and they've given Graham and Ryan a lot to do in the first 3 episodes, because I'm pretty sure they set in Graham up for a fall towards the end. I think there's only really one reason why you would set up a character this way for us to get that attached to, is if later on you're gonna... Yeah, so it does make me feel uneasy, but then again, this whole episode made me feel uneasy. Uneasy, sick to my stomach, and ashamed of humanity. It makes me feel good about where we are going as opposed to where we've been and where we are. So yeah, this was a cracking episode of Doctor Who. Absolutely cracking. This is sort of more about what I was actually thinking that the first 2 episodes were missing. I thought the first 2 episodes were okay to good. I thought this was on another level. This was just like punching it as high as it could. Just swinging for the fences. And I thought they'd done a hell of a job with it. The acting was good. It looked amazing, as this series has presented so far. The music I thought was great. I could actually understand everyone this week, which was nice. I just thought they did a brilliant job. All the problems that I've got with this episode are stuff that probably didn't really contribute to the story. And I like the fact that the way that they ended up manipulating Rosa and manipulating the events so that things happened the way that they happened. I thought that was a really nice thing, and it was one of those episodes whereby I think towards the end there was a bit of pride going on there. I think there was a bit of go on, girl, you show these SOBs. And yeah, I just loved this episode. Loved it. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode. And also, if you like this video, give me the thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. But until next time, I'll see you later, guys.